Our lives are laid out on a road of bumps, turns, struggles, and more. How do we respond? How do we endure adversity for learning and growth? I'm Aubrey Johnson, and we'll explore these questions and more on the road to rediscovery. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of The Road to Rediscovery. I'm your host, Aubrey Johnson. The Road to Rediscovery is about reflecting on life lessons to learn and grow from them, and of course, pay it forward and uplift others who are struggling through dark times. If you feel stuck in the same monotonous, mundane routines of life, or perhaps an unfulfilling relationship, this episode is for you. I repeat, if you feel stuck in the same monotonous, mundane routines of life, or perhaps unfulfilling relationships, this episode is for you. My special guest is an entrepreneur, author, and public speaker known for his grounded, practical perspective on building a life rooted in purpose rather than comfort. He's the author of the recently released book, Kill Complacency, and host of the podcast bearing the same name. Get ready for an insightful conversation on intention, discipline, and ownership. And let's welcome Mr. Marty Hofmann to the show. Marty, welcome to the show. It's so great to have you here, sir.
Yes, thank you for having me, Aubrey. This is a privilege and an honor. So looking forward to this discussion.
Oh, thank you. Likewise, we are equally thrilled and looking forward to your incredible insights, sir. So if you can just start us off with share with us, what was your early inspiration that led you to become a champion of intention and purpose? Was this something that was always in your DNA, or was there an event or something that kind of changed the course? And how did that all start?
Yeah, it all started really, Aubrey, because I just wanted to add value back. And I realized that I had kind of become successful. And I thought, man, I want to help other people do this too. There's no reason, especially as Americans, that we live paycheck to paycheck. Like we live in the greatest country in the world. So if it's about consistency and showing up every day, then I want to teach other people to do that. So honestly, it started with a whiteboard, and my daughter and I were scheming, and we knew it came down to intentionality and consistency, but everybody uses those words. And so we came up with Kill Complacency. It's a better hook, grabs you, and it's what it's all about. So we want to kill complacency, live intentionally. We want to inspire the world to do so and make the world a better place. And I just want other people to have the same success we've had and better their life one step at a time.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. And you mentioned your daughter. Did she play a role in building this brand, or just come across with the name? Or
my daughter is my backbone.
Nice.
Keziah is her name. She's 22 years old, and my firstborn. I've got 6 kids, but she's my firstborn. And her and I get each other, and she makes me look really good. So without her, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing, just because this stuff comes so naturally to her.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. Our kids can make us look good, many different times, especially in the adult years, right? So, no, that's fantastic. My son is 28, and he's my only child, but yeah, I mean, he can make me look good at times, even though him and I are not involved in the similar type of endeavor as yours. But again, we love our kids. We love our kids. All right. Well, there's a couple things I believe the listeners are really they're really eager to hear. Okay, there are things that to me are fairly intuitive from a conceptual standpoint in what you're teaching and the message you're giving regarding complacency, killing complacency, when it comes to taking ownership, holding yourself accountable, and these types of things. And then there are things that, in my mind at least, may sound a little counterintuitive. And I wanted to get your take on a couple of these things, if you don't mind. So I believe, and please elaborate on this, if you feel, I believe one of the reasons that people are stuck in a rut, whether it's self-imposed or not. We'll cover that here in a little bit, but some people may be stuck in a rut or stuck in a certain place because number one, they're comfortable, and number two,
Mhm.
they um, they have a fear of failure when coming
Mhm.
their shell. But is there such a thing as someone actually um, uh, not wanting to come out of that rut or that stickiness or that comfort because they may be afraid of success?
I think so. I think that there's an opportunity for that. I
Mhm,
mean, I was talking to a friend of mine a couple of years ago,
mhm,
and he said to me, I said something about being a billionaire, and
mhm,
he said to me, he said, I would never want to be a billionaire because of the man I'd have to become to manage that.
mm, mm,
So I do think to some extent, Aubrey, you're right. Like the fear of being ultra successful
mhm,
can be scary as well,
mhm.
because it means we got to give up a lot of, again, a lot of our comforts, right?
Right.
And for Josh, that's my buddy's name, for
Yeah.
Josh to become a billionaire someday,
Mhm.
he would have to get out of his comfort zone, and he would have to stretch and grow and become somebody that makes him uncomfortable, honestly. So,
Yeah, yeah. Man, he put it in a good way too, because
mhm,
uh, becoming someone or a type of person that doesn't come to him naturally in
mhm,
order to manage or sustain that level of success may require doing some things or saying
yes,
some things that he may not come naturally to him. He may not feel like saying or doing or hurting someone's feelings and so
mhm,
forth. And that's an interesting perspective, and I was thinking maybe another perspective, and maybe Josh was alluding to this as well, is when you succeed, you're in my mind, you're kind of held to a higher standard,
yes,
and your expectations of you are higher. And I can't remember who said this, and I don't know, maybe it was Spider-Man or something, but um, to whom much is given, much is
yeah.
expected, or something like that, right?
I think that's in the Bible, isn't it?
I, I believe so. Yeah, yeah,
I don't know
yeah.
where, but it sounds like a Bible verse.
Yeah, it does. It does. I believe so. Now that you mention it, there, Marty, for sure. All right. Well, thank you for that clarification. I mean, really, really, really appreciate that, and I love how Josh put that into perspective regarding having to be someone he doesn't want to be or doesn't come naturally to
Mhm,
maintain that type of success. So, yeah, there could be some fear of becoming successful out of that comfort zone as well. Um, how about someone from a mindset perspective? Okay, so someone who tends to look outward as the source of their rut, as the source of their complacency, instead of having that introspection, right? Or maybe that person tends to make themselves out as the victim, you
mhm,
know um, uh, and we don't know exactly what type of background they've had or anything. So I mean, no judgment here, just someone that may come across as being the victim or having outside elements to point the blame for the source of their rut. What type of work, if you can share for the listeners, what type of work can this person do to improve their mindset and learn to become self-led?
there's a famous college professor. Her name is Carol Dweck,
Hmm.
and she wrote a book called Mindset
Okay.
back in the 80s, maybe 90s. A lot of gurus today will quote from that book. Now that I mentioned it, you'll notice it. But
Yes.
she talks in there about this, and she talks specifically about how you can teach your kids this.
Hmm.
And you don't teach your kids it by giving them praise for getting the A. You teach it to your kids by giving them praise for really trying their hardest and their best. And so to answer your question, I would say don't look to get praise from your results, but look to get praise and look to get confidence from the effort you put into something. So to that person that's struggling in their mindset and has what Carol Dweck calls a fixed mindset,
Okay.
what I would say they can do is just do something that scares them or is hard or makes them uncomfortable, and they don't have to even do very much.
Right.
And they don't need to look at the results on that. All they need to do, Aubrey, is applaud themselves for doing XYZ, the hard thing,
Yeah.
and then that can grow. There's a Japanese term called kaizen, and it's in reference to like the smallest thing you can do to have to lead towards something.
Yes.
And that's what I would encourage that listener. Find something that challenges you and do it a small little bit, and then the next day compound it and do it more. And if you will do this, I will guarantee it will build confidence, and you will go from a fixed mindset to an abundant mindset, and you will grow and you'll be unrecognizable in a year or 6 months or 2 years. Like you'll look back and you'll say, I don't even recognize that the person I was in 2026, that fixed mindset that was scared to ask for a raise, that was scared of whatever. I mean, I don't know what people are struggling with, but we all have the same struggles, but they can build that and they can have that abundance. But I would say just the smallest thing.
That makes sense. Incredible clarification on that. Thank you, Marty. So having that Kaizen mindset with small incremental steps to improve, right? Baby steps, and over time, those build up to big steps, and then there's noticeable change, not just from the outside to you or yourself, but within yourself, change that we can see and feel within ourselves, right?
Yeah. And even, I mean, we could use fitness as an example, right? So somebody's a couch potato and they have a hard time moving their body. Like the smallest thing they can do is maybe walk to the end of the block and back. And that's day one. And then maybe day two, it's 2 blocks. But you can literally like just do a little bit. Like you could during a commercial break, you could move around, like just make it little.
Yeah.
But then build from that and get the compound effect and never stop. Just keep going. And that's your podcast, The Road to Rediscovery. Like that's what they can find, and that's what they can become. And they can rediscover a whole new person that they didn't believe existed. Being a couch potato, they can. There's a stories of people that do this, and they run marathons. And something that blows their mind to even consider right now. Suddenly, they're doing it because 6 months ago they go off the couch and walk to the mailbox. And
isn't that something? I mean, it is very possible. We hear stories about this. 6 months ago, they're a couch potato. They have, eating potato chips, watching, I don't know, they're just binge watching TV. And before you know it, something in their mind clicks, something they see, something they hear, or an event that takes place. And it puts them on a path to just, transformation and what you mentioned about habit, right? And making it realistic. It doesn't have to be a major change. It can be small changes in an incremental way. Another thing you said there, Marty, that really, really resonated with me, and I want to make sure that the listeners hear this as well, because this is incredibly, incredibly important. We all have currency of something, right? And what you mentioned that was extremely profound is shifting our currency, shifting our thought, our currency from praise
Mm,
from outward praise to inward effort.
mm.
And that is tremendous. One you can control, one you cannot. Okay. And make that currency what you can control, your own effort, whether you come up short or not. The fact that you made the effort, that uh, and I guess I'm kind of paraphrasing how I interpret it in my head.
Yeah.
And please, if I'm off base, let me know. But that's kind of what I how I took it in, if that made sense.
Yeah. Well, and no, and I agree. And that whole mindset, a lot of times we get in the dumps.
Yeah,
We give ourselves the pity party because we're focusing on things we can't control.
right.
But if, to your point, if we'll shift what we can control,
Mhm.
that's when we can build that confidence, and that's when we can grow and rediscover, you know, the life that we could potentially be living. And it's a better life. You know, I believe everyone has a better life
Yeah,
tomorrow than they do today. It's like the sunset.
yeah,
Like go build it, go make it.
yeah.
So,
No, for sure. It's out there for you. It's and to your point that you mentioned earlier, living in the greatest country in the world, we have that ability
mhm.
to do these things at our disposal, thankfully and gratefully, and so if we feel like we have the potential and we have the drive, then who's to stop us? For
Yes.
sure. Yeah, who's to stop us? All right. So, wanted to know from you, um, and um, and this is a tough question because I'm gonna. It's not tough as far as hard to answer. It's tough and hard to ask to where it makes sense. So I'm gonna take my time with this, if you don't mind, Marty. So, um, let's think about the entrepreneurial mindset.
Okay.
Okay. Um, there's this whole risk reward thing, and it applies to a lot of different capacities of life, right? But um, for the entrepreneur and the entrepreneurial mindset, the risk of being the the risk of being your own boss, calling your own shots, and living and dying by your ups and downs. That risk is worth the reward of freedom,
Mhm.
of calling your own shots, of um, being an agent for change in other people's lives and impacting their lives and their families' lives in a positive way. So this whole risk reward factor, I think entrepreneurs believe that the risk of that and not being associated with any company, it's just you and what you build is worth the reward of the great work that you feel in your heart's important
Yeah.
for being an agent of change. Okay, now in conceptually within that mindset, and the things that we're able to control as individuals, for validation, for
Mm.
wanting to make a difference and not be complacent in our lives. Do you feel that people are naturally willing to take ownership of their path, their direction, regardless of succeeding or failing, knowing by virtue that they are in the driver's seat of their destiny? And if the answer is no, how can people come to the realization of the importance of this type of control and ownership?
So something we talk about a lot is on the road to rediscovery, on the road to intentionality, on the road to a better version of yourself.
Mhm,
The first thing you have to do is own it
mhm,
and label it.
mhm.
So if you're that couch potato who's struggling to get 1,000 steps a day, like you got to name it, you got to label it,
Mhm.
and you can't do that, Aubrey, without having some kind of ownership.
100%.
Because a lack of ownership we stay the same.
Mhm.
And so I think to answer your question, you cannot and you will not become an entrepreneur. You will not change. You will not have that freedom without first accepting and leaning into the fact that we are all individually in control of our own destiny.
Right.
And it is up to us to choose. And I guess I do want to say this. I don't think everybody is destined for entrepreneurship.
Sure. Sure. No.
I love my freedom,
Mhm.
but I need my employees. I need my
Right.
steady eddies who just
Yeah.
want to show up and punch a clock.
Yeah.
But even my best employees, or my worst employees,
Mhm.
they are responsible and they have the opportunity to rediscover and make their life better,
Mhm.
by their choices and honestly by their ownership of those choices. The worst thing the people that get fired from entrepreneurs are the ones that will never take ownership and
Mhm.
always are passing the buck. I'm
Mhm.
sure you've had those, and it just doesn't work.
Right.
I tell them, if you just tell me the truth, it's no big deal.
Yeah.
But if you're not going to own it,
Yeah.
this doesn't work.
No, it doesn't, right? And it really kind of disrupts the direction and the path
Hmm.
of the individual and of the team, you know? And no effective leader can move a team in the right direction if they're pointing the blame for any oversights or mix-ups, mess-ups. The reality is there's always going to be mix-ups, mess-ups, even if we believe that we've done everything right to the T. We could have done everything right to the T. Something comes out of left field that causes a mix-up, as I'm sure you can relate to, right?
Yeah, 100 times a day.
Yeah, for sure. You know, and I also want to thank you for the clarification regarding the mindset of the entrepreneur, and then of course needing your team, those who
Mhm.
want to punch the clock in. There's entrepreneurship's not for everyone, and there are those who want to punch the clock, do some work, bring food on the table, home for the family, and and someone deciding to take the step forward to be the entrepreneur, to build
Yes.
whatever this institution is, to bring in people like that is a beautiful thing. Now, I want to kind of scale that back a little bit, and I think you may have alluded to it, Marty. Scaling it back meaning the entrepreneur example that I gave was just an example regarding the whole risk reward in that capacity, right? But um, I think we all, entrepreneurs or not, don't we kind of wrestle with that uh, uh, when we decide that we don't want to be complacent and that it's within our control, to go out there and take more risks, do things that are out of the ordinary to get ourselves out of that rut. And the choice may not be to become an entrepreneur, but
Mhm.
but I don't know, write that book or start that spec house project or
Yeah.
start that car build. And we only control our destiny and the direction we go, um, and knowing that just by virtue of us being in control, yeah, we may win, we may lose, we may succeed, we may fail, but the beautiful virtue of us having the control to decide
Mhm.
whether or not we want to do that. I mean, that's what your employees would have within their worlds too,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, and as an entrepreneur, I shouldn't say I love. I'm not afraid to fail.
right,
And I
right.
will be the first, because I fail so often,
Hmm. Hmm.
I'll be the first to admit it. It doesn't bother me. But there are people that, that's a paralyzing thing
Yeah,
to fail.
yeah.
But but I'm constantly trying to find shortcuts. I'm
Mhm.
the quickest way, the cheapest way, the best way.
Yeah,
And that's kind of what made Elon Musk, so that's what put him on the board with Tesla,
yeah.
was he had the engineer mind and the design mind, and he put them together, and he eliminated parts and eliminated different things on the car, and he got these cars out in a short amount of time. Well, that's the same thing we do as entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
And we're willing, to your point about risk, we're willing to take the risk
Mhm.
in hopes of the fact that it will lead to a better product, a
Yes.
quicker turnaround,
Yes.
whatever we're after.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we don't do this anymore, but for a while, every night at supper, I would ask the kids, tell me your high, tell
Mhm.
me your low.
Mhm.
That's your fail. Like, where did you fail today?
Mhm.
And then tell me something crazy that happened today. And we were doing this really because I wanted to teach my kids it's okay to fail.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, we have good days and there's bad things that happen.
Right.
And but I think it's something that we need to lean into more,
Mhm.
is being okay with failure, because it's what, we wouldn't have anything great today without somebody taking the risk and,
Yeah.
trying to create electricity or trying to create a car
Oh,
or
yeah.
a house. I mean, all
Yeah.
the things. Nobody wants to live in a tent.
No, they certainly don't. And this time of year, at least where I am in North Dallas, I do love the invention of the air conditioner.
Yeah,
know?
I told my boys that today. We are blessed. It's
Right.
70 degrees in the house.
Yes, 100%. Right. And so none of these conveniences and modern technologies um, came to fruition in its first attempt.
Mhm. Yeah, without risk,
Yeah,
without
without risk,
failure.
right? Yeah, and without failure. None of these would exist without failure. So, and nor do they
Mhm.
exist without failure. So, um, that is that is a mindset or a thought pattern I think that needs to be kind of encouraged
Mm.
throughout, whether it's the audiences, people of an entrepreneurial mind or not,
Yeah.
because we're all going to attempt something, whether it's in that vein or in a path of our own desire, um, our own endeavors. So, yeah, and understanding that it's okay to fail, but here's the steps you do after failing. You got to look inward, you got to reflect, right? And then, of course, the lessons learned and so forth. So, yeah, that's huge.
Well, and even to the listener,
Hmm.
or we've talked a lot about the couch to 5K or whatever.
Hmm.
Even to the person that says, I'm going to get off the couch today and I'm going to pursue this. Like that's great. And if you sign up for the marathon and only do a half,
Hmm.
like okay, yeah, you failed, but think how much better off your life is
Yes.
because you went out and you did something hard and you were okay with failing and you took the risk. Like that's a lot of times what we we get mad at ourselves and beat ourselves up for not hitting the goal, but we fail to look back at how far we came
Yeah.
and celebrate that we just did a half marathon or a 5K, whatever it
Yeah.
is. So I think that's the other key thing is how we measure our failures is not against the big goal, but how far we came along the way.
Oh man, that is, I agree 1,000%. Um, to me, it kind of circles back to what you mentioned earlier, Marty, regarding just being happy for the effort
Mm.
and not
Yeah.
just hearing the praise, right? You're happy with the effort. It's what you can control, and if you're happy with the effort, there's self praise there,
Yes. Yes.
and you can build from that, right? So,
Yeah. Yeah. You build confidence. And that's what we want to give ourselves. It's what we want to give our kids and our family is confidence. And we get
yes,
that confidence by praising the effort, not the results.
100%. So, Marty, I'm sure you're sharing a lot of insights that is covered in your book, "Killing Complacency." I would love to know could if you could tie up the essence of your book in one sentence that's a primary message that you want the listeners to grasp and understand. What would that sentence or message be?
We talk a lot about drift.
Mhm.
And drift we defined as default
Mhm.
results in forgotten time.
Okay.
And if we are not willing to go down the road, I mean, behind you is this beautiful road. Like, I just want to get in a car and drive on that road in
Yes,
your
yes.
scenery. Like, I want to see what's over that ridge. But a lot of us are content just to do same old, and only go halfway because our house is down there and never go a little further.
Right.
And that's drift, right? We're just content and we just do default.
Yeah.
And when we line up into default and stay in drift, we never rediscover the life that's out there. So that's what I would say is the essence of the book is to stop drifting and start living the life that is out there and rediscover it for yourself.
Oh my gosh, man, I just got chills. I just got chills. We need to repeat that for those in the cheap seats. But you know what? Um, that that says it all. I mean,
Mhm.
talking about a virtual bow, wrapping this up in a virtual bow, and saying, "Here's our message to you, my
Yes.
message to you in this book." Right? Stop the drift. When you talk about the drift and just being content with the limited spaces that people
Mhm.
are going in my mind's eye, Marty, I just kind of imagined someone putting up virtual fences
Yes.
around their physical space, and these virtual fences are basically they're limiting themselves.
They're limiting beliefs.
Yeah, they're limiting beliefs 100%. Yeah,
Yeah.
they're limiting beliefs, you know, and there's got to be a benefit or something encouraging, that would pique the mind or pique the interest to tear down those fences, right? And see
Mhm.
what's further out there. I think a lot of people are um, maybe they're not fully capable, not capable. Maybe
They
they're
are.
not fully knowledgeable of what potential they hold inside. I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Well, and that's what you and I are trying to inspire in the world, right? Is to
Yeah,
help people rediscover
yeah.
what's in them and what they can do and what they're capable of so that they live that
Oh,
better life. Because
100%.
you've used a word early on, comfort. And that's our enemy is
It is.
we think comfort is what we all want to strive for, but it's not.
No.
Comfort is the lie. I have a running hat that says that comfort is a lie. And
Wow.
it's when we get uncomfortable
Mhm,
that we get to rediscover
mhm.
our life and who we are and our potential. But because we're so engaged to comfort,
Yeah.
we won't go out and we won't get off the couch and we won't walk that block this week. And
Oh,
we won't ever do that 5K.
yeah, yeah. It's so discouraging. I mean, to kind of hear that, and it's a sad reality in a lot of cases. And one thing I do want to apologize to you for, Marty, is a couple times you may have seen me kind of intermittently look this way and look this way. Well, I'm looking this way because I want to check. I want to check the time code, okay, of when you said certain things,
Mm,
so that I can remember them when I go to edit, because they're going to be major, poignant uh, 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 conversation
sure.
snippets that I'll share with you after we have our discussion. So I'm checking time codes so I can remember where to look, and then I'm writing it down so I'm not looking all over the whole recording, if that makes sense.
No, you're good.
So but no, you that comfort is a lie, right? And that's something that we kind of need to tell ourselves. I love that you have it, you said, on a hat.
I I do some running
Yeah.
and in my running hat, I can't remember who puts it out, but that's their logo. Comfort is a lie. And
Okay.
I saw it on a buddy's
Hmm.
Strava
Hmm.
and I was like, "Where'd you get your hat? Because I want that hat." Because it's true, like you
Yeah,
have to embrace
yeah,
uncomfort, discomfort to do
yep,
about anything in life.
yeah.
Um, we've talked a lot about the fitness journey on this because it's easy, it's practical, but
Right.
you and I, before the show, we talked about how long we've been married. And I think that's another one. Like,
Mhm.
I hear so many stories of women who say to their husbands, "Hey, take me dancing."
Yeah.
Right. And the husband's like, "I don't want to go dance. Like, we don't want to get uncomfortable." But
Yeah.
guess what? Then they get divorced.
Right.
He never pursued her. He stayed comfortable.
Yeah.
And guess what? He has another mistress and she says, "Go dancing." And he's like, "Yes, ma'am." And so he
Right.
should have just went dancing the first time.
It would have saved a lot of anguish,
Yeah.
money probably as well, but definitely a lot of time, a lot of anguish, and what's causing it to happen now? Why couldn't it happen sooner, right?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah,
But it's easy, I guess. It's easy to be complacent even in our marriages and think
yeah,
everything is okay. And
yeah.
and guilty. Like,
Guilty.
yeah, guilty.
Yeah, me
There was
too.
a time, and I still struggle with it some, but thinking providing
Mhm.
trumps being present,
Yeah.
but it doesn't. My wife and my kids would rather have me present than
Mhm.
going out and making another buck. But it's so hard. I think it's hard, especially as men, the bread earners, to
It is.
set that aside. But
Yeah,
again, it's complacency on my part to not want to meet their needs.
yeah,
So
yeah. No, I'm guilty as charged. I mean, as well, Marty. I mean, I'm not perfect, and I fall short and fallen short many times, and I'm sure I will many times in the future. But there are incredible lessons that I am learning and picking up through hard adult conversations
mm,
with my wife, as we promise to let each other know whether the other person wants to hear it or not, if it's something on our minds and hearts, that we should bring it up and talk it through. I mean, it's
yeah,
worth it to our marriage to do that
yeah, you
for
have
each
to.
other. Yeah.
You have to, and that's when your marriage gets better and stronger.
Yes.
And that road to rediscovery on, you've been married almost 20 years. By the
Right.
time this comes out, it will be 20 years.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
And if you reflect back on what you were like year one, like, there's no way you want to go back to that.
No way. No way. And there was no way 20 years ago I thought I'd be like this,
Yes.
you
Yeah.
know?
Preach.
Yeah. So it is people can't claim to have it all figured out uh, in the first year of their first marriage, second marriage, or third. I mean, this is my second, and this is my wife's third, and that's it.
Yeah.
Okay, so not once in a million years I thought I would turn out this way after our first year of marriage. Back then I thought I was fine the way I was.
She
But
did
boy,
too.
did it take. Yep, she did too. But boy, did I eat humble pie. You know,
Yeah.
I did, and practice humility, and the whole irony behind that, Marty, is I became stronger from that
Hmm.
humility. I
Hmm.
became stronger for being vulnerable and saying, "This is hurting me when I hear this," or "This is hurting me when she says that," and that sort of thing. So, yeah, so feeling that type of hurt, I didn't feel any comfort at all, but feeling that discomfort also allowed us to grow. And in the
Yes.
and in the vein of comfort, Marty, I wanted to see if you can share some insight on what I feel is a sense of irony here. And this is a great segue because you made the transition from physical activity and fitness to relationships. I
Hmm.
wanted I wanted to see from you, is there some sort of irony, or am I just imagining things? Is there some sort of irony behind someone staying in an unfulfilled relationship due to comfort? In my mind, unfulfilling relationships are not comfortable. So is this person just coming from a place of status quo, not wanting to ruffle feathers, or where is their comfort coming from in an unfulfilled relationship?
Yeah. Some of this is a personality thing. Um,
Mhm,
and honestly, this breaks my heart when I see this, right?
mhm.
Because when you're in a relationship, you should be fulfilled.
Yeah.
But I I know many stories and many people who aren't fulfilled,
Right.
and they're happy to stay in that.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that we shouldn't be committed, because
Right.
I think that's almost a separate conversation. But
Mm-hmm.
to your point, you had to get uncomfortable by sharing vulnerabilities
Right.
so that you and what's your wife's name?
Sherry.
Sherry. You and Sherry could have this union that you have now.
Mm-hmm.
And even though there were times you weren't fulfilled, you shared those with her. And that's what made you stronger. So to the person that is unfulfilled, like somehow, some way, they need to try to communicate to their spouse that this isn't working.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. No, that makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense.
but
And
it's still hard and it's still scary. And
yeah,
obviously maybe the person knows, like,
mm-hmm.
maybe, I mean, I'm a guy, so I'm going to throw this out there, but maybe they haven't had sex in 6 months and he's like,
Yeah.
this isn't working.
Right. Right.
Well, he can pout about it. That's what I do, right? I don't give her the cold shoulder. Still teach her.
Hey, we're men. We pout. We like to pout.
but I need to have a conversation, and I need to say,
Right.
hey, Ginger, what's going on? Like,
Right.
it's been a week. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
like we gotta. So that's the uncomfortable, right?
Yes.
And
yes.
that's why comfort is a king. Comfort is the lie, because
Right.
we think I'll just roll over here and pout, and she'll get the idea. She doesn't get. I mean,
No.
it's not on her radar.
No, she's not a mind reader, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. No.
So we need to have those hard conversations.
Yes. Yes, we certainly do. And as awkward as we feel bringing them up, they're important to have, and you feel a lot better on the other side, right?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah, you certainly do. Oh man, Marty, this has been an absolute delight of a conversation. Man, I've really loved the insights you've shared with me and with the listeners, over taking ownership, over how to stop complacency, over in the small incremental steps, and also, changing perspective on
Mm.
what is your currency when it comes to taking a risk. Is it the praise? Let's shift it to the effort,
Mm.
right? So
Yeah.
that and so many other insights you've shared, I am truly, truly grateful for you coming on the show, Marty. How can the listeners follow you, connect with you, pick up a copy of your book, and listen to your podcast?
Yeah. So the easiest way to do it probably is just go to killcomplacency.com.
Okay.
You can find out about me, my podcast, the book. The book is on Amazon. That's the easiest way to buy it.
Okay.
I'm not trying to buy a bunch of copies and resell them.
Right.
So
right.
just go to Amazon and print on demand. It's a beautiful thing.
Mhm.
And but Kill Complacency. The other thing I'm going to tell you there, there's a test.
Mhm.
We talk about the 7F framework in our book, which is
Okay.
faith, family, fitness, future self, friends, and fun. I think I said them all.
Gotcha.
But we talk about that framework and not just focusing on, say, fitness or finances, but all of them, right? We want to have
Yeah.
fun. We want to have friends. We want to have family. So we got to get all of them.
Right.
But if you go to that webpage, there is a wheel of life,
Mhm.
and you can take a test. It's kind of like an assessment test.
Okay.
And you can figure out where you're low, and it'll send you an email and give you some tips. So for your listeners that are struggling, they can go to that. They could get a little tip, and then they can see if they want to read the book. So,
Oh, fantastic. Well, we're going to have is it Kill Complacency or Killing Complacency?
killcomplacency.com.
Killcomplacency.com.
Yep.
We will have that direct link in the episode show notes. And we'll even mention, I'm sorry, the Wheel of
It's called the Wheel of Life.
Life. Thank you. I thought I heard that. We want to mention that and encourage people to take that sort of assessment and see where they are, by being honest in their responses and so forth. So, killcomplacency.com. We'll talk about the Wheel of Life and all things Marty Hofmann. You can reach by that website for the benefit of the listeners, from the book to the podcast, to the Wheel of Life assessment that he mentioned earlier. Marty, It has been such a pleasure having you on the show. I hope we can truly stay in touch and bring you back on the show at a future time.
Yeah, it'd be great.
Oh, fantastic. Thank you,
Thanks.
sir. Thank
Thanks
you.
for having me. This was fun.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you. We reciprocate. Fun for us as well. And I want to thank all of you for tuning in and listening. And hey, look, you may think this at times, but in our daily struggles of life, you're never alone. And hope is always right around the corner. I humbly ask that you please share this show with someone you know, someone you love who needs motivation, inspiration, and support. And when it all comes down to it, we're all just roadies on this journey of life. But it feels good having you on the road with me. Thanks again for listening. We'll chat again soon. We really hope you enjoyed this episode of The Road to Rediscovery. We'd love to hear from you. Shoot us an email at roadtorediscoverypodcast@gmail.com and leave us any questions or comments you may have.